Hello and welcome to another Modswell video. I'm your host Maxwell. Today we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 mods of the week. Each of these mods are available on Xbox and PC. This week has seen a few great mods that I've been waiting for, so let's see what they are. First up is Custom Class Creation Overhaul. This mod, as I'm sure you know, is designed for a fresh save. It is going to completely change your starting stats, skills and magic, but I will delve a little bit deeper. You'll start the game with level 5 across all your abilities, however you can change this by using a new power called Choose Destiny. In using this you'll be able to sculpt your character in a few different ways, the first of which is choosing your starting standing stone or birth sign. These are compatible with most standing stone overhauls that replace the vanilla effects. Should you choose a birth sign, instead you'll be able to use any of the standing stones or a new one called the Traveller. This will allow you to move 5% faster and have all of your abilities increased by 5 points. After you've chosen this, you'll be prompted to select a specialisation from combat, magic or stealth. Anything that falls under the group that you've chosen will level 10% faster and have their perk trees increased by 10 levels. Afterwards, you select a primary attribute which will grant you an extra 20 health, magicka or stamina depending on which one you've selected. Next up, you get to choose an armour skill that you want to use. This obviously includes light and heavy armour, but also includes alteration for the mages out there. You'll gain an extra 25 levels on this skill tree, as well as 15% increase to leveling speed. And finally, you'll be able to choose 2 major skills and 3 minor skills, which exclude the aforementioned armour boost, other than alteration if you didn't select it. Major skills get a 20 level skill bump as well as a 10% leveling boost, and minor skills get a 10 level skill bump and a 5% leveling boost. Okay, so I've talked a bunch about the numbers now and how it works, but that really isn't the full story. This mod acts like a fantastic way to create a backstory for your character. They no longer feel like a strange entity that just popped up with little to no difference between plays. We have some great mods out there like CCO, which has always been my go-to mod. I feel like CCO comes with an inherent weakness to characters, and that suits me really quite well, but this mod focuses on strengths and things the character has learned over time. For a fun experience in role-playing, I suggest using Custom Class Creation Overhaul. For a more savage starting experience, I suggest using CCO, but honestly there's very little to choose between these two excellent mods. Make sure that you place this in the lowest section of your load order to ensure it doesn't get overwritten. The final word I have on this is the cost. It is an extremely manageable 133.8 kilobytes. Up next is going to be Regal Dragons SSE. This is a total retexture mod for the dragons excluding Alduin and Durnavir. It aims to make every dragon look a little different from the next by giving patterns to the wings and the body, new meshes to tails, wings and heads. All of this combines to make a more aggressive and elegant design to the dragons. My favourite aspects are the wings, where some dragons have eye-style patterns on them, similar to that of butterfly wings, but scarier. The vanilla dragons were really just a copy and paste job, and whilst this is fine, it doesn't give them any personality or defining qualities to make them feel special at all. They're meant to be the big bad, not the big boring. I only wish this was released earlier so I could have included it in my dragon load order. If it was coupled with something like scales like broadswords, which includes some dragons, we would have unique feeling named dragons with a ton more bite. These designs will also fit in nicely with those from Diverse Dragons collection, which is a huge fan favourite, as their styling is fairly similar. But here's the kicker, it is going to set you back 51.7 megabytes. That's not all that bad for what it does, but when you consider Bellyache Collection Porter's Choice is roughly the same cost and includes a ton more spawns beyond dragons, it may be a tough pill to swallow. I'd say if you have the free space, these should be used. They are my favourite dragon designs for sure. If you don't have the space, maybe leave it for another load order in the future when you're focusing on graphics or dragons. Moving on to third place. Here I've opted for Icy Windhelm by WiZkiD. This mod seeks to create a more realistic snowy look to Windhelm. It also removes a bunch of inconsistencies from the vanilla game, such as snow in places where it just wouldn't land. This mod is similar to Snowy AF Windhelm. Overall, Windhelm is a city that rarely gets touched because it can be tricky to edit due to vanilla designs, but this is a nice, cost-effective way to really bring it up to par. I say cost-effective as it's a really small 19.6 megabytes, however it really isn't a retexture, just a rework to how the snow affects the city. Personally, I think this looks good enough on its own. However, as it isn't a full retexture, you'll find it's fully compatible with things like Cleverchaff's Windhelm to make the place look even better still. It doesn't change any of the layout either, meaning mods like JK's, Immersive Citizens or AI Overhaul will also play nicely for a more complete setup. If you like your cities to be regionally accurate, this has got to be the mod you use in Windhelm. It's performing some excellent things for me, such as covering up the uglier aspects of the city in a blanket of snow, making the place look nicer. When you have a blizzard whilst wandering around, it really helps play into the newfound snow mounds in the town. There isn't much to say about this. The name does it for itself. I highly recommend this mod. Moving on to second place. I had a real head scratcher of a choice to make between first and second, but eventually I chose to put new animation for magic casting SSE in this spot. These new animations are a really fancy and easy way to show off the elegant aspect of magic. It is definitely more showy than vanilla, and even the likes of Jewel Sun or Spoiler. You'll find your character making more deliberate movements and shapes to cast spells, more flicks of the wrists and dancing style animations. I can't put my finger on why this feels right, but it just really does. Each of the spell types have their own style of movement too, which brings more disparity between what you're casting and how it looks. Whilst this has always been the case, the extra drama these animations bring make the divide between spell types much larger. Even your hand positions look different with each of the cast types. This to me feels right because it makes it seem like to cast a spell you have to perform different movements, basically like Harry Potter, swish and flick. I'm not the greatest user of magic or even someone who tends to play with it for more than just healing or summoning, but more and more mods are coming out that change this. I would personally put this on par or close to on par with YY Animation's version of the same thing, which is unfortunately not available on Xbox. But I feel less hurt by that now that we have a mod like this. However, it is a little costly for an animation at 8.5 megabytes. That's the price you pay for more variance between animations and spell FX. The only slight downside I've seen is when casting a projectile electric spell, it leaves at a funky angle. It's a really small thing and it still looks better than the vanilla version, but it's worth noting, mostly to draw out the video's length. And finally, it's time to see what beat everything else. My favourite mod of the week is Unarmed Warfare new animations for hand-to-hand combat. I'm pretty sure you've all guessed what this is doing already, right? I've been asked many times what my favourite unarmed combat mod is, and finally I've got an answer. This mod totally reworks that tired old system and gives us new moves to destroy within brawls, or if you built an unarmed character. Not only do we get access to some kung fu style combat with kicks, punches and spins, we also get to create and use combos in these battles, making it all feel much more fluid. Your right and left standard attacks are punches, your left power attack is a kick, your right power attack is a roundhouse kick, and your double power attack is a roundhouse with both feet. And they flow into each other really nicely, and this allows for you to just keep your opponent on the ropes as long as you choose the right move and manage stamina well. I have never had a desire to play an unarmed character. It's just one of those things that doesn't appeal to me, but this goes a long way towards making me want to. For those of you who are masters of combos, this set is going to really suit you. Even if you're just going to use this to specifically fight in the brawls, you will have a great time, and as it only costs 98.4 kilobytes, it's really easy to just slot in and forget about. This is my favourite mod of the week because at least on console, we've got nothing like it. It's filling a niche and allowing me, and of course others, to play in a style they maybe wouldn't have before. It's also just exceptionally fun, so I suggest trying it out and seeing how it works and feels for you. Before I end, this is just a little announcement that you're only going to hear about once. I've recently started a Buy Me a Coffee account, which I will leave a link to in the description below. I prefer to get my money from YouTube rather than followers, but I've been asked a few times to do something a little bit like this. If anyone feels like contributing, just know any money that goes into here will be funneled back into the channel and making the content better, as well as giving a little something back to anyone who's been helping me out. Awkwardness aside, if you need any extra help with your orders or mods, please do come and join the Discord server and the Reddit page where people are always around to help each other out. They are both really great groups filled with knowledgeable people. I've left links to both of those in the description as well as links to all the mods mentioned. If this has helped, I would as always really appreciate those likes, comments and of course subscriptions. They help push my content out further and they make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Either way, thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one.